Hello. So we're just 2.5 weeks out from season 9 called Anarchy. It's going to be starting April 12th. So looking really much forward to that. And as per tradition, the devs have these teaser streams leading up to a new season, and this time has been no different. So we've gotten at this point 3 dev streams by SenpaiSomething, where he kind of like teases what we can expect for the upcoming season. And I'm just gonna go through these changes in the season and give some of my thoughts on it. So the first dev stream here, we got the announcement, the date, the open beta and closed beta dates, which are coming up really soon. So that's going to be fun to test out some of these changes. First thing Senpai introduced was that the crafting infusion that we've had in the crafting league is going to be introduced in the regular season as well. So if you've seen some of my previous videos, you've seen me use some of these for crafting a lot of these different items, and they're kind of cool. Kind of combines all the ingredients, so you don't have to use both a rune, jewel, and gem and stuff like that to make the craft right. So that's a really cool change. It's going to be limited only to the treasure fallen events in maps. So no more in LOD content. But that's okay. That's the same with the actual goblin. It's not going to be spawning in regular LOD content. And in general, they're just changing the loot table for the treasure fallen in maps, which is good. It's going to be more like the crafter season. Of course, without the puzzle piece, that would be a little bit broken, right? But can drop a little bit higher runes, and as I just said, the crafting infusions. So it's going to be a little bit more attractive to actually go for this event than it has been in previous seasons. So that's really, really cool, and I'm happy about that. I would have liked to seen the loot goblins or the infusions be kind of like introduced in some kind of way in LOD content, maybe just in like normal difficulty or nightmare or something like that, where they don't drop as much just to avoid it being exploited, right? Just because it's something that's really, really handy in order to get a lot of different builds going, where you just need like a weapon with a little bit of ED or something like that, with some life leech, or you need a little bit FCR here. So getting that infusion doing a normal playthrough would be kind of huge, right? But yeah, I can understand why they're doing this. Then the next things we have here are some pretty huge changes for, or this one especially is really big for melee. Next hit always misses bug is going to be fixed. So if you experience playing melee character before and you don't understand why you're missing so much, that's because when you get put into hit recovery block, etc., some of these skills, they will automatically miss the next time you hit. And that kind of nerfs a lot of these melee skills quite a lot, right? So that being fixed is really, really huge for melee, and that's going to be really, really fun. I think it's going to kind of like bring melee up a little bit, and I'm looking forward to that. And they also simplified the melee hit checks, so sometimes monsters, when they move out of range, even though you have kind of like targeted them, it would perform a secondary range check, and then if the monster was moved out of range at that point, you would miss, but it kind of made this check a little bit more lenient, so you're more likely to hit, which is also good. Then they reduced the volume of main menu, which is also nice. Everybody, I think, has experienced getting their ears blasted off by coming into the main menu, so that's nice. Don't have to mute that anymore. And this one is also a really big one. Reworked the next hit delay. So this means that some of these skills, like Twist and Tornado, they would usually kind of like delay or cancel out each other. Or at least it would be some skills would not what do you call have the full effect because they kind of like needed to wait until the other skill was performed. I'm not sure I'm explaining this quite right, but basically what they're doing is that they're making this different, so you can actually they're not gonna cancel out or delay each other, so you get more damage from some of these skills, and that's, as they note, is gonna result in some nerfs, and they also in the latest dev stream, they talked about maybe increasing the monster health even more when you have higher player settings in online play. So that might be some of the things they'll be doing. So just be aware of this when you see the patch notes, that some of these skills that are affected by this change might also be nerfed, as it seemed, like just in terms of like a number value on the skill when we get the patch notes, but in general it may actually still be a slight buff because of this this thing being reworked. So that's pretty interesting. I'm gonna look forward to see how they balance that. And we have a really big one here as well, a skill rework, the poison dagger on the necromancer. Basically now it's going to be functioning almost like a rabies druid. So when you kill a monster with the poison dagger, it creates a poison cloud which will spread to nearby monsters. And theoretically, if you have a huge density map or something like that, it could could spread throughout the full map, right, with just one poison dagger strike. So that's pretty cool. Definitely going to be interesting to see that how it performs. And we have some other cool quality of life changes here. First is the maximum sprite limit in game. This is something when, if you've experienced being killed in game by something invisible or something like that, right? Like an invisible charged bolt or something like that from Uber Mephisto or something like that. I think that's what this will kind of fix. So make some of these situations a lot more smooth, right? So you should be able to see what's going on for the most part. And yeah, just some cool statistic commands as well. You can see how many monsters you've killed, clones, how many maps you've completed, etc. That's pretty cool. This one is a little bit spooky, right? Don't wanna look at how much time you played. So yeah, let's see how much that get used. No, just kidding. But yeah, some cool modernization updates here. That's for sure. And then, as usual, top 3 of the 99 pushers, Declone Tier 2 and Radma Tier 2 get an account-wide aura with a lightning effect. But the new thing is, just to incentivize other players to also do some of this content, is that you can actually get this aura if you don't get top 3 now. So even after 4 months into the season, you hit 99, you're going to be able to also get an aura, but it's going to be bound to that one account that actually does the accomplishment, right? So that's really cool, something to strive for, extend the season a little bit for a lot of us, and yeah, great change here. And it's also going to be working in single player, so that's really cool. And then they're looking into to doing a dungeon boss farming a little bit different. It was exploited a little bit in the last season. People just leaping to the boss and farming the items and materials you would drop down, just skipping the full map. So that's going to be changed a little bit, and they're also looking in general into doing dungeons more kind of like group oriented. So looking forward to seeing what they come up with here. Yeah, skills no longer have cooldown in town, so you can just summon all your minions really fast if you're like a summon druid, which is also great. don't have to spend so much time doing that. And this is also a really big one. You don't have to resummon all your pets or whatever it will be you're playing, because they will actually carry over through games now. So you can just summon them and exit game and enter a new game, and all your bears and your wolf and stuff like that will carry over. It's not gonna work for like ravens or revive, but like permanent minions is gonna work. So that'll be really, really cool. And it's definitely gonna be buffing like Travancal runs for like the summon druid. So that's gonna be a really solid season starter strategy as I see it. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, and then the PD2 dev team have removed Uber Trist from the actual old D2 code, so it's now part of the PD2 servers, as I understand it. So they can kind of like change it a little bit more easily, and that means that they will be able to fix some bugs in in Tristram, sorry. And one of them is, for example, I don't know if that's a bug, but gonna at least make it so the house cheese is not a thing anymore. You could get the monsters stuck in there um, and kill the Ubers in that regard, but now they can't even spawn in there. So that sometimes is also annoying, actually, depending on the character. If some of the Ubers get stuck in there and you can't get them out, so that's really good. And fix to charge pally. It's going to be really cool for charge in general. Some of these changes. Really looking forward to trying that because it has felt really, really buggy. But yeah. If you didn't name lock monsters when you attacked on charge, it would do a ghost attack, which would miss. So yeah, that's going to be fixed as well. So really cool. And the last thing from the first dev stream was that the standard of heroes now drop from Uber Ancients instead of Uber Trist. So giving kind of like a new incentive to actually farm Uber Ancients, which is really good. And also not... it's not really necessary to have that additional bonus in Uber Trist for all the really rich Uber farming guys, right? So yeah, I kind of like this. I think the idea was that it gets to be part of the mapping rotation. So you do tier 1s and 2s and 3s and get these materials for the Uber Ancients, right? And then you can do that and get a standard of hero to juice up your maps and then continue, right? So solid change to make this content more interesting. Okay, and then the second dev stream. This is also a big one. They're gonna rework how maps work, so we're gonna have to get used to seeing some smaller numbers on the density modifier. But yeah, I think if we can look past that, it's a really solid change. It means that you have a higher base density on maps. The idea is to incentivize people to actually run more white or blue maps and not only do what's it called, rare tier. So yeah, gonna be interesting to see how that works out. I don't know. I kind of like adding a base density, so you don't have to re-roll that much, right? You don't need to hit those 200%ers every time. You can kind of like settle for less and just focus on avoiding modifiers that you really don't want. Like if you don't want monsters having more defense or damage reduction or something like that, you can just roll and avoid those. And then even if density isn't the worst, then you can kind of like still run it because it's still base as a decent base density, right? So decent change, I think. But yeah, let's see how it works when we get to it. Yeah, descriptions to map orbs and loot filters. So, or if you're not running loot filters, so that's nice. If you just wanna play the game without any loot filters, you get some information right and don't have to look it up. So that's cool. Then you're gonna be able to filter games by difficulty in the game menu now. So that's also really nice. And new UI when creating game. Yeah, so instead of having to type your GS, you can just press a button that says maybe GS1, GS2, whatever you're gonna play on, right? So that's also cool. Nice small quality of life changes here. And then made a change to the Iron Golem. So you can now cast your Iron Golem. You can only have one of them, but at the same time you can cast other golems. So you can kind of like have this as a stationary one, and even if you cast Clay Golem 5 times or 6 times or whatever it is, it won't override the Iron Golem, so you lose your item, right? So that's really good. And another thing is that another thing they teased in the next dev stream is that you'll be able to actually desummon the Iron Golem. So if it's like an active player action, you will be able to desummon the Iron Golem and get your item back. So that's really cool. Of course, if it dies from being killed by a monster or something like that, you won't get your item back. And then it's just GG. But yeah, that's pretty cool, I'd say. It gives you a little bit more flexibility and hopefully get some cool builds up and running around that. Looking forward to that. And staying with golems, blood golems will have open wounds damage per second now. So yeah, maybe some cool boss builds or something like that can come out from that. And then Arctic Blast Druid now has AoE. So if you want to do a little bit of a meme, or actually it's a decent build, right? People can do maps with it even before this, but yeah, now you get like a Frost Nova when Arctic Blast kills monsters, so that's really solid. Yeah, and then they reduce delay to re-enter town portals. That's really nice. I think everybody has tried that, having to quickly get into a TP, or if you got the wrong portal doing a playthrough or something like that, right? You have to quickly get back to town and into portals. That's going to be a lot smoother now. So great change as well. Removing rune cost requirement for higher tiers of Uber fights to improve accessibility. So that's really nice. It ties into to the strategy that they really want to promote people trying this very difficult endgame content, right? Instead of having to use a bow rune or a Vex rune or something like that to make the declone or the Radma fight more difficult, you can just cube them by themselves, the Uber item, and it will kind of like, as it says here, cycle between difficulties, so you can try whichever one you are up for, right? So yeah. And then here in the second dev stream, they talked about rebalancing defense value on all armors. And that was something that came to fruition. We'll get through it in a little bit here. But in general, lighter armors, they will have lower defense, and heavier armors will get higher defense to reflect the strength requirement, right? So this means that Mage Blade and Archon Blade and stuff like that are not going to be as good in terms of like strength versus defense value. It's going to be way more balanced. So that's nice. And yeah. Yeah, then they're looking into a little bit with the summons because of the change Senpai talked about in the first dev stream. They want to prevent people to buff up their summons quite a lot, summon them and then keep them, because you can now keep them across games, right? So that's probably gonna be prevented in some kind of manner. And as I mentioned earlier, they want to look at the dungeons, how you can make them more group oriented. So yeah, solid. And then the fresh, right off the press, dev stream, the latest one we got just yesterday. It's Sunday now, and got it yesterday, Saturday. We got really a lot of interesting changes here. So the first one was that the gold capacity has changed from 5 million to 8 million in your stash. And your characters, even if it's just a level 1 character, you'll be able to hold up to 1 million gold. So just makes it a little bit more convenient to get gold and have a little bit more gold in your stash. That's cool. And then this is a big one as well. If you have 2 sources of half freeze duration on your gear, it will now count as cannot be frozen. This is really cool, and it's gonna open up so many gear options. It's especially gonna be big early game, right? Playing through. But it's also gonna be something where you're gonna be looking for some rare items or crafted items that actually get this modifier, and then match that with your ring or something like that. This is really cool, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't think anyone really have like the overview of which possibilities opens up here, but yeah, nice with something that can kind of change up the gearing meta like this, and yeah, also gonna make it easier to gear the mercenary up. That's for sure, right? Especially early on, so he doesn't get frozen and dies all the time. So really excited for this. This is really cool. And then big one we got here. Finally, we got the diamond crafts. That was the only diamond at this point that didn't have a crafting recipe. So that's really good. Would have loved to have this recipe in the crafting league, but yeah, it's nice that we get it anyways in season 9 now. Currently they're calling it the prismatic craft, but it might change names. But in general, as you can see, it's focused a lot on always attack speed, half freeze duration, and attack rating. So this is a really cool melee recipes they're introducing here, and that's going to be so useful, especially early on for playthrough, right? Getting that attack rating, the attack speed, it's just so huge. And even movement speed on boots, that's so cool. But yeah, it goes nicely. The half freeze duration with the new change, right? So really excited to use this crafting recipe, and yeah, it's looking really good so far. Yeah, and then another thing they're gonna be introducing in season 9 is that usually you have a level penalty in Act 5. So if you're not level 25, you're not getting any experience in Act 5 at all. So that's also why you usually do, for example, tomb runs or something like that until level 24, and then do ancients. Then you have 25. Then you can do your Bale runs, right? That's kind of like a normal progression, but it also sometimes kind of slows down the experience in tombs to get those last few levels, right? So they've now removed that penalty, so it's still not going to be like insane experience if you go to Act 5 at level 20, right? But you're not going to get 0 experience. So if you just want to progress through the game, you can actually do that and kill monsters and still get XP. So that's really good, and really that also means that you can start doing Bale runs a little bit earlier. So yeah, solid change. That's definitely gonna make playthroughs a lot less painful, I think. Yes, and then another cool change. Finally, the sorceress got got something. It's been a little bit since there were any big changes to the sorceress. I feel like it's been like slight balance changes in the last few seasons, but yeah, the Inferno skill now has a much bigger AOE. It becomes like a fat flamethrower and increases density, or what do you call it, AOE almost with skill level. So that looked really cool. It's not possible to show it, unfortunately, because as you can see here, the bot from Devstream was unfortunately lost. So, but yeah, that looks kind of cool. And yeah, probably gonna be some kind of a meme built around that. That's not gonna be too terrible, right? So yeah, it's good. Should be good fun. This is also a really big one. So you can easily look over this one, right? But they've now added curse procs onto staffs, so it's a chance to cast on casting, right? So you can actually cast amp damage when, for example, if you're casting Inferno, or if you're casting something else, right? Nova or whatever it may be. But they also added lower resist as a proc onto these weapons. You can also get it on spears and stuff like that, right? But now it can also be on staves. So this is really good. Previously, it was only possible for to proc curses like amp damage on striking. So yeah, this is a big one, and that's something that it's going to be helping out a lot of casters. And kind of give them the same opportunities to break immunities and pierce enemies like the physical characters have had. So big change here. Yeah, and this is just readjusting the elemental damage mod, so it's mainly for like Vengeance Paladin, right? So you have some bigger elemental damage on being able to spawn on rare weapons and stuff like that. So yeah, decent. And then we are going to be seeing a change to the Uber Tristram. So previously in PD2, you were just ported into the instance like Tristram. And you were not able to use town portals or get out of there. So either you win or you die, right? But now it's going to be a little bit more lenient. So it's going to be spawning 3 portals that are one-time use, and you can use it yourself if you die two times, right? So you can go in there. Or I guess 3 times, go in there, get your body, and try again to get them down, or you can get some friends in there to help you, or something like that. So yeah, decent. Gonna make Uber Twist a little bit easier, right? But yeah, it's fine. It's as I think Senpai also said that Uber Twist is not gonna be it's not meant to be like insanely hard end game content. It's gonna be like a stepping stone towards Declone and the Radmas fights. So yeah. Also, hopefully, also make more people incentivized to try out some of these fights if they haven't really done them right. Yeah, then they're still working on. Maybe they'll also introduce that into dungeons, but yeah, they're still working on how the dungeons are gonna be with the focus on group play. Yeah, and as I said before, the armor changes. We have been through that. They're going to be a little bit more scaling a little bit more to match the strength requirements. So that's good. Yeah, and I also think I said this with Idle Golem. It will redrop. They probably need to. I think Senpai started duping some items a little bit in the dev stream, so he probably needs to look into it a little bit. But yeah, that should still be fine. You can desummon your Iron Golem and get the item back. So that's gonna probably be fixed for season start, right? And then they reworked how Holy Light work. So yeah, if you cast on an enemy, does magic damage to the target and 50% heal in an AoE, and the opposite, if you focus on the party, then full heals them and 50% damage to monsters. So cool little change. And this one, yeah, I guess I didn't actually catch that one. But apparently they are bringing back the full palette of colors to elite monsters. Though previously they disabled due to bug. That's kind of cool. I would imagine this has something to do about the sprite limit or something like that. So we're probably gonna see some cool things, and the game's gonna be a little bit more stable to these kind of things. I've also heard Senpai talk about the servers in general being reworked, so hopefully ping is also going to be more stable and better. So a lot of cool things being done in the background that's going to make the game seem a lot smoother. Yeah, and just finishing out here, we have a really big one again for melee, which is really great. So attack rating has been always been capped at 95%, and now it's been changed to 100%. So melee has always been able to miss, sorry, whereas like casters they would always hit, right? And now melee characters get the same opportunity. It's gonna require quite a lot of attack rating, so to reach the 100%. But yeah, I think it's nice that if you invest the attack rating and dex into it, you're actually able to get to 100%. That's huge. That's really good. And then we have a few Sorc changes here. Teleport is going to be buffed for the sorceress. They are reducing the damage penalty. So yeah, just gonna be like a net damage buff to Sorcs when they teleport around and cast Nova or Combustion or whatever. Right, so that's cool. And then we also got a change to Energy Shield, how that functions. Telekinesis is not going to be a synergy anymore, so it's just going to scale through skill points in the actual skill itself. And now it's going to be capping out at 90% damage taken to mana instead of 85. So a little buff to Energy Shield, so it's kind of cool. And this change also means that that it's gonna make this unique spear that had the I think it's level 30 energy shield a bit more viable, because it's gonna be stronger because it doesn't require telekinesis, which you want to do this on like a barbarian or something like that. Of course you can put the points into that, right, to scale it even more. So yeah, solid change there. And the final thing we got here is also quite a big one, that all set items are now able to become ethereal. So that's also going to be interesting, and will probably also, as it says right here, right, result in some balance changes, just because a lot of the gear, especially the weapons, are tuned to not be able to roll ethereal, where it gives you like an increased damage buff, right? So yeah, that's gonna be cool, but definitely also gonna be sick. I think gonna hopefully make some of the set items even more viable. So yeah, all in all, I would say these are some really cool changes. Really nice quality of life all around. Really looking forward to the next season, season 9 here. I think in general the game is in a really good spot, both in terms of like balance and content. So mainly getting all these quality of life changes is actually what we want, right? I'm really happy and satisfied about that. Also, just looking at all these changes to melee, it's gonna be nice playing some of the melee characters again. in a little bit more efficient and non-frustrating way, right? Yeah, let me know what you guys think about some of these changes. What are your biggest ones? What are you looking forward to the most? I think with that said, I'm gonna conclude the video now. It apparently became a long one anyway. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you around.